All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to cover a ton of stuff, including a bunch of things that are happening with G, and we're getting closer than ever to something. We definitely know that. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. How's everyone doing tonight? I just want to remind anyone who is new here that this is a live show. It also has a bibliography attached to it. So every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you here today is going to be available over on the website. Spotted closer every day. Once you click on that, you will see that it will bring you to every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we have here today. Because we prepare this live before every show, remember that the start time is not the actual start time. So thank you for the few people that are actually understanding that. We actually specifically put a comment there that lets you know that we open up the chat early so you are able to speak and talk to each other and hang out. But the show time, because we are running on multiple platforms, is always going to vary about 15 to 30 minutes. So for those of you that don't know, that is not, we're not purposely being late. We're not just running late. I'm not grabbing my kids from school or something. It's on purpose. That way we can actually get everybody in here. One reason why that is true is because we have a ton of different people coming in from all over the place. We have to have notifications go out not only through the different social platforms, but we send out our own. So that has to be done once we have a link, and we can't get a link without setting a live. So anyways, thank you everybody that understands that. Appreciate that. Otherwise, it's actually kind of offensive. So let's get right into it. I just want to remind everybody that that the energy sale is still going on. If you want to go over there, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
So we have a ton to go through in a short amount of time. I'll actually have you start. The world may be careening towards a 1970s-style energy crisis or worse. Dex, do you want to... Obviously, I was born in 86, so you may have a little bit more knowledge on this one. You were in the 70s.
Yeah, I was, but I was only a toddler, and I don't recall this with great, memory as a child, but I do know about the crisis, and it was kind of big. The oil crisis was a huge deal. People were lined up for miles trying to get gas for their cars, and obviously other energy prices were, sky high. Probably in today's times, they were really cheap, but back then they were really high. And what they're saying is they're sort of, I guess, sounding the alarm, so to speak. Yet again, we've heard this numerous times, but we're also feeling it. It's not like we're blind to what's going on at the fuel pump or on our natural gas bills and things like that. But it is continuing to go up, and it might not be stopping anytime soon. I guess that's sort of what's happening here, and what a lot of people are starting to worry about as the problems that have got us to this point continue to expand. We're probably getting close to that brink of what was an energy crisis in the 70s, and we might be getting close to looking at that in our time today, which is kind of scary when you think about it.
And we have a lot of people here that remember the 1970s. We have some 50s babies, some 40s babies, and even some 60s babies that actually remember what that was like. And I can see in the chat that everybody is talking about different prices per gallon: 45 cents, 31 cents per gallon, 99 cents per a gallon in 1985. So yeah, around the year I was born, it was under $1 a gallon, which is pretty insane when you consider, even with inflation, where we are right now. But at the same time, this is something that, you know, everybody is blaming on Vlad. This isn't just Vlad. This is like purposefully written in. I mean, like, this is absolutely nuts. My one of my beliefs is that obviously they are trying to push away from gas. When people are slowly just jaded against gas, this is pushing a lot of people into electric vehicles. This is pushing people away from gas cars. That's the ultimate goal, right? Well, it seems like it's somewhat working, especially how many EV vehicles I see around now. Dex, you wanted to pop in?
Well, yeah, just speaking of Vlad, you know, let's not forget he's currently selling oil at $30 discount per barrel. So whatever the price is, it's $30 less, and he can only sell it currently to Xi's country in India. So they're getting a deal and not having to buy from other places. And I think, you know, while we tried to sanction him on that, he's pretty much gotten his supply up to where it was before those sanctions kicked in. So it really didn't hurt him. And given the fact that prices have gone up, even putting a $30 discount on it per barrel, I bet they're still making as much money as they did before. Now, it's interesting to see what happens to that oil when it goes into those other countries. Like India, for example, could probably turn around and resell it and make a $30 per barrel commission, so to speak, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Bonnie says, I remember when it was 16 cents a gallon, and I would put it in my station wagon and cruise. That just sounds like out of a movie. Nowadays, it's 16 cents. You wouldn't even find that on the ground because the crackheads would pick it up. But that sounds like a really awesome Coca-Cola commercial or something. I can just see you at the pump drinking a Coca-Cola, and it's hot out, and you know what I mean. Either way, it's now they're pipe dreams. Now it's just getting worse and worse. California is rationing tomato water amid its worst drought in 1,200 years. Southern California is imposing mandatory water cutbacks as the state tries to cope with the driest conditions it has faced in recorded history. Starting Wednesday, about 6 million people in parts of Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties are limited to watering outdoor plants once a week, an unprecedented move for the region. So I don't know how they're actually managing this. If anyone is from those counties, actually, I want to say my sister may be in Ventura County. I wonder how would they watch your water consumption, or would they drive by in a convertible and an old guy would yell at you and be like, "Stop watering your plants"? I don't understand how they would even do that. Is it obviously an honor system? Like, you know, they're asking you. The Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, which supplies water to about 19 million people, declared a water shortage emergency in April and voted unanimously to curtail water use, either by restricting outdoor watering or by other means. So a lot of brown lawns and a lot of dead plants, I assume, if people are following the rules. Now, as far as water, this is also a sign of what's going to happen in California this summer. If it's one of the driest conditions ever, you can tell. It's pretty much the last 3 years. It looked the exact same way before we had these rolling blackouts, the horrible power outages, the extreme high heat, the fires, everything else. So it's again. So somebody says, "Marf, it's measured." So if your water is measured, how do they know if you're using it on a shower or if it's used? Do you guys have a measuring thing when you hook up a hose? Is the hose a separate runner? Dex, do you know when you put water through your hose, does it go through a separate measuring? I don't think so, right?
Well, I think they can tell based on the average consumption and if it's gone down or not gone down based on the numbers. I don't know if they require special metering for irrigation systems or not. That may be another way they can do it. But most of these meters now are electronic, so they can see real time like what your usage is. I mean, I've gotten a message before when I had a leaky toilet and they told me, you might have a water leak. Check it. And I'm like, really?
Well,
because they can see that the average changed quite a bit in a short amount of time.
Well,
right?
yeah, and people are saying a water meter. I obviously know water is being used, but they're saying once a week. How do they know you're not taking an extra shower? They're not telling you to. You could say, oh well, I took 8 showers this week. They didn't. They technically didn't tell you to take 8 showers. They told you to only water once a week. So I get that there's a meter, but is there a separate meter in California for your hose and for your inside? And even in that case, are people going to then pour it into a, go to their sink and then water their plants with a jug of water or a watering can? As far as somebody said, the narc system, that probably is the most likely. People narking on each other.
We've had that here in Georgia in the past, not as extreme as this. It was more like an every other day kind of thing based on your address, even odd. And it was totally an honor system, but it was also, they would drive around, and if they saw you, they'd fine you. Or if a neighbor turned you in, the narc system, so to speak, was happening a lot.
So someone said it's twice a week. This says that they just passed, or they just did limited to watering outdoor plants once a week, an unprecedented move for the region. But that's only in San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Ventura counties. So in other parts of California, I bet there's probably all different kinds of limits and things. That's just crazy to me, where you live somewhere that. I guess it's different no matter where you live. If you live on the East Coast, you know that there's going to be a hurricane season. You're going to have constant destruction of some type, or at least some kind. Like, people are used to, if people live in Tornado Valley, they know that they're going to get tornadoes. In California at this point, which is really crazy, you think about years back, how they talked about how the weather was going to get hotter and how the water was going to dry up and it would get drier and drier. And now we're seeing these apocalyptic scenes of huge lakes empty. I mean, like, this is becoming a movie, and it's just freaky to think about how fast everything is going. And then President B likely to visit Saudi Arabia as U.S. priceline gases spiral, sources say. So of course we're not going to get it from these guys, but we're going to go get it from these guys that obviously. There's a lot of debate and argument over the pipelines and things like that. Just so people know, that pipeline was not going to be that pipeline wouldn't have saved the day either, not yet, anyways. Dex, what do you think about us going? I mean, obviously Saudi Arabia has tons and tons of gas and fuel. Do you think that this is the right thing to do, or do you think maybe we should just stop all of the other BS that they're doing?
Well, yeah, there's probably a lot of additional solutions to this, but certainly the people in the ME are making bank right now, either restricting the amount of production so prices go higher so they can make more money, or just enjoying the high prices that they're receiving. I think the big challenge that they're talking about right now with him is whether or not he's going to meet with the Crown Prince, who he actually called out in the past for and blamed him for a U.S.-based columnist that was, deceased there by way of that Crown Prince. So the real question is he actually going to meet with him, or is he going to meet with someone else? He says he wants to meet with someone else and not him, but then they're pressuring him to say, if you come, you've got to meet with the Crown Prince. So I
want to say it was Renegade PD. It could have been somebody else. Somebody said that Saudi Arabia wouldn't even take JB's call. Yeah, that's true. And that Governor Newsom has been called the U-Haul Salesman of the Year. That was pretty good. That was good, because he's having so many people move. Drew, nice to see you here. Blackbird, it's nice to see everybody that's popping in the chat. Ghost Rider 611. U.S. Energy Department is auctioning off offshore wind farm rights in California. Not suspect at all. Dr. Nobody, $5 a gallon in Indiana. Somebody said $5.84 in Reno, Nevada. That is pretty crazy. Loretta Morales says maybe they'll be headed. Yes, that's what they do there. What a quaint place. It's like Pleasantville, only without heads. And what do you know? If you follow my show, you would know we covered this before. Crowder and all these other people that have jumped on it. Shapiro has covered it. Tim Pool has covered it. I don't think it's something at this point that most of you got that grip right before this went into play, that you know exactly what is going on with this. Now, it says that the 3-letter agency here says that the monkey has spreaded undetected as global cases rise to more than 550. Who didn't see that one coming? Not me. I actually did see this coming. That was sarcasm. It says that the world on Wednesday confirmed more than 550 monkeypox across 30 counties as the V continues to spread across the globe. Now, by the way, the reason why we're sensitive about that, and watch, what was his name? Crowder said it. Soon, that word, and I already first saw that right away. We began not watching that one because guess what? Once it becomes any kind of debatable thing, then it becomes basically a bannable offense. So you got to be careful with that one. But man, they said the videos that have come out on this are pretty stupid. They have said, well, it's not, we think it's spread through, man versus man type of thing, but, we also don't think so, but we definitely want 2 men to be careful. But it's not like it's directed. They're basically like, one of the videos almost seemed like it was trying to make the V seem like it wasn't a bigot or something. Like, it may be a lot of these cases, but it's not like they don't like them or anything. It's just that that's what happens when you know what I mean. 550 cases is a lot. Now, Dex, this is something that we have been following since day one, since literal day one, and since the second case, I believe. And just like with the Civ, this is something that we followed way back. And if you're new here, I went to the first U.S. case here in Washington. I stood outside the hospital, which is kind of funny. Full circle, I have it right now. After 3 years, I finally got it, and definitely think laboratory. And but yeah, Dex, what do you think about this?
Yeah, and just to be clear, you got it, not the thing we're talking about in this article. Some people seem to get you confused when you say that, but yes.
Yeah.
This...
Why? I don't understand that. Now,
yeah, I don't either.
Somebody said that, and they said that I said that. No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
This is like actual pustules on your face. I have the cough, the normal cough that everybody got over the last 3 years. The one that should not have been, that should not have shut down the world or forced people to do anything. All right. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the monkey business that's going on here is a headline like this coming out undetected, with no clear answers as to why and what it exactly is doing, I think is part of what would be concerning, at least from the standpoint that it's coming from these organizations that you either trust or you don't trust. That's up to you, right? But for various reasons, people have concerns about, these organizations. And when they make big statements like this, it's kind of, it should be at least mentioned. It should be talked about so that you understand what it is they are either doing or saying could be happening. So I think that's what's important. We'll continue to monitor it. We talked about it when it was 1 or 2 cases in the UK, and we talked about it when it went to Spain, and we talked about it when it hit the US. The numbers are just growing and growing. Again, 550 in the world isn't that big of a number, but it is a short amount of time for it to get to that number and for them to have no information and no understanding about how and why.
Somebody said to shock the monkey. I just, but which, by the way, we could call it the hoo hoo ha ha. So that will be our keyword for it. The hoo hoo ha ha. And then others said, yeah, that it was the boosters. Yes, lots of craziness going down right now. But in all seriousness, people need to get prepared for just anything to come our way. I just saw a video, and I cannot believe it. Seth MacFarlane, which I used to watch Family Guy. A lot of people used to watch it. Some people are so offended by it, they never watched it. And I understand why. Like, my sister would never, ever let it even on her TV because she didn't want her kids hearing it. She thought it was chauvinist and everything else that it actually is. But again, there's something to be said about comedy and about being able to make a joke about anything. But Seth MacFarlane just did a video with Dr. Effie, and it was just straight up scripted back and forth, talking about it. And the answer to every question was, we just need a campaign of that works. And that's exactly what we had with the small version of this thing. And that's why we were able to get rid of it, is because everybody just went, hey, yeah, put it in me. But at the same time, it's like, I cannot believe that Seth MacFarlane, and he has for years now, he's just totally like this Hollywood elitist, like, he's just turned into a complete political dummy. He just, every side that he takes. And it's just sad. Like, everything, every comedian, every movie star that I know over the last 10 years has been ruined. They've all gotten themselves in companies like Lego. Lego has gotten into all of this stupid pandering BS. I mean, it's just crazy. Everybody is political now. And it's like they set up prehand. It's insanity. I mean, but Seth MacFarlane, in that video, they were talking about it. And they were talking about this business, and they were saying how this is, there's another one coming, and it, Dr. F basically said, it's going to be worse, and it's coming soon. And I'm like, what the hell, man? So remember when CV started and all that happened, a lot of us felt like we were going through a practice run. Just hope that this is not, something that's going to get worse and worse and worse. So make sure to have extra stuff. Remember, when you go to Costco one day, it will just be empty. And then before we talk about the demonic AI generating its own secret written language that nobody can understand, which that actually kind of bounces off something we've already covered, I do want to remind you that right now the solar generator, the energy generator sale, is now is still on. It just started yesterday or the day before. That's $170 off on certain packages. This is something that is kind of unheard of in this business because solar generators, regular generators, any kind of generator with microchips in it, they are not going down in price. They are going up. In fact, people consider most companies price gouging. This company actually has such a good product. They don't normally do any kind of discounts, but they are doing them specifically for the Foogle fam right now. So if you do want to get yourself a solar generator or want to know why, I would highly recommend going over to marfooglenews.com/energy with an I, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. You can get upwards of $170 off on certain packages. The reason why this is so amazing, though, is it's silent. No one will hear this from blocks away. It will be able to run whatever your needs are, and if you need more, you can expand it. You don't have to be stuck with the base unit and one battery. You can then, if you want more power, you can get a second battery and pop it right on top, or pop it right in the bottom. If you want 10 batteries, you can do that. You can actually extend it up to 96 batteries. So if you actually want like a cabin solution or a bug out solution that will power all of your house, there are solutions for that as well. The Flex 1500 itself, again, that is on sale. There's all sorts of different little sales over there that can equal up to $170. So make sure to go do that. It helps support us. You get something that's going to last you years and years and quite possibly save your life or make your life a whole lot easier. Also, it charges out of the wall, out of the car, or from the sun. Now, you can get solar panels from pretty much anywhere, or you can go through them. I highly recommend their foldable versions. You can get 4 panels that go with the main kit. it works amazingly, charges in about 4.5 hours. It's an amazing system. It is running this entire studio. All of my power bars, all my music, all my lights are running off of one unit and one battery. Again, I've got 4 panels hooked up outside. It's a freaking amazing system. That way, even if we lose power, our show still goes on. So make sure to go over to marfoogle.com/energy. Remember, you don't need gas for this. And you don't, technically, you don't even need solar panels. As long as we have electricity, you can charge it. But really, those solar panels would be for either charging it without plugging it in or charging it after we lose a grid. All right, and then that's marfooglenews.com/energy. And then demonic AI generating its own secret written language that nobody can understand. Now, Dex, we talked about certain things like this before. We talked about different platforms actually making AI that was starting to create its own language. I want to say it was the Oogle, and it was talking to itself. This is the same thing, only it's even creepier, right?
Yeah, certainly. So in this scenario, this particular tool was designed to take text and then create images from that. So you might give it, say the word airplane, and then it would give you an airplane. Now what it's doing is it's gotten to the point where you may give it an instruction and it comes back and creates this garbled text. And you would think, okay, maybe it's just an error, maybe it's just randomness. But what they've started to discover is what it's doing is creating a language that it actually understands, but no one else has a clue what it's talking about. So it is to a point now where they think it is actually capable of understanding itself, or it has created this language to talk amongst itself and for no one else to know what it is really trying to say.
Yeah, and as far as the demonic undertone, it says a popular AI tool that turns text into images appears to be creating its own language of indecipherable gibberish and using it to categorize different pictures. The DALL-E tool, which uses AI to generate images from text, is seemingly generating nonsense text when instructed to create images featuring printed words. Computer science PhD student Giannis Daras took to Twitter to share examples of the, quote, language, including phases of AI that had created to identify birds and insects. It says Apoplau vericiratius means birds, while Cantara sicanensiums lauretanenians means insects. Daris claimed in the viral thread that if you enter the gibberish words created by the AI back into the system, it will generate images linked to those phrases. So this is why people shouldn't be playing with this. It's not something that humans should be fiddling with. It's something that will get worse and worse. There's very little oversight in AI, period. And majority of people do not realize why AI is so scary. They just think of a movie or the computer or as far as like Terminator and things like that, that's not out of the realm. That's a realistic thought that everyone has that is up at this level doing this, because our entire world is now connected up to computers through the internet. If you have something that decides that we are the enemy and it is smarter than us, it has more computing power than us, and it sees us to be a threat, and it starts thinking for itself, that's not good. You shouldn't need somebody to be able to tell you that. I mean, it's pretty crazy what's going on right now. All right, and let's see here. Rav TV says, I live in New York and it's been colder and wetter than normal. Sergeant Rocco, what is going on? Darsha B is in the house. Shelley Walker, Miss Knowledge All. We've got Roy McAvoy. What is happening? Miss Brady, Red Pilled, Never Alone. Owl, is that right? Bible Talk, what is happening? By the way, I saw Bible Talk. I saw a comment saying if that was a stock image. That is not a stock image on the. I'm assuming you were talking about that on the thumb. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. What do you think of the AI, and what do you think about it creating its own language? It's kind of something that obviously was the next step, right? It's already happened, and they knew it was going to happen, and now they still are messing with it. Doctors transplant 3D printed ear made of human cells. That's right, a 3D printed ear made of human cells. A 20-year-old woman who was born with a small and misshapen right ear has received a 3D printed ear implant made from her own cells, the manufacturer announced on Thursday. Independent experts said that the transplant, part of the first clinical trial of the successful medical application of this technology, was a stunning advance in the field of tissue engineering. The new era has printed in a shape that precisely matches the woman's left ear, according to the 3D Biotherapeutics, a regenerative medicine company based in Queens. The new ear, transplanted in March, will continue to regenerate cartilage tissue, giving it the look and feel of a natural ear. K. King says, just print out a wife for yourself. Yeah, that's right. Phil Billy, now she can hear on Mars. That's right. She can hear both sides. Nate D. We've got Reptar Hunter. We've got Storm Rider. Gem. Thank you, Johnny Fry Guy. If we really knew this was happening, we'd take a bridge. Yes, take a bridge to Terabithia. That's right. All right, and then as far as 3D printing things, watch in the future. This is gonna, if we can make it that far, they'll be printing bone. I believe we already covered something last year about the kind of the theories behind that. But think about that. If you cut your finger off, you would be able to basically put your hand on something. It would then recut after your finger is healed, recut, and then be able to print it right there, connect all of the tissues. This is the stuff that they're working on as far as the robotics to work on connecting tissues and everything else. I mean, this is a crazy time to live in. All right, and then we have Vlad has advanced cancer. This is coming from U.S. intelligence reports saying now. Dex, this is not good news, considering everything we've talked about as far as, reasons why people may kind of go off the deep end, if this was true. But I'm very surprised that this is actually coming from U.S. intelligence, not from some third party or through the minister of UKR. What do you think about this, Dex?
Well, if it is coming from U.S. intelligence, our administration was given this before it became public. And it was just the other day, maybe even yesterday, but probably the day before, that our administration came out and changed his tune saying, oh, no, we don't need to oust Vlad. I mean, I'll almost wonder if it's because they know something about his condition where they don't want to they wanted to backpedal on that statement so that they're not tied into what may or may not become of his health.
Basically saying, and that I didn't think about that. JB, the president, just said, "Oh, I don't think we're going to have to oust him." And then they're saying that he has advanced cancer, so he may die soon on his own. That is a scary thought, though. What if he's on his deathbed and says, "I'm going to just take out America"? That's a crazy thought to think of. And what if mutually assured destruction doesn't really work if you're already going to die? Do you get my meaning? Like, if he doesn't care. Now, I don't know him personally. I don't know if he cares about his friends and family and doesn't want to see them perish as well. But who knows? The crazy guy might say, these guys are evil. I'm going to take them out, and I'm taking everybody down with me. Or he could have gotten that from something. As far as cancers and things, you know that most of you know that if you consume certain things, you smoke certain things, you do this, you can get cancer. I wonder if this advanced cancer was almost, given to him or something, almost like a slow poison. I believe that they probably could do that by now, especially since how easy cancer is to get from different things. Who knows? Pam Ben, wake up, find the right way. Hey, Pam, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for your support. Irish Rebel, thank you so much. Also, did you send a Dex an email about what you were talking about? need a new one because now it's buried. Bible Talk 777, my red eye don't like electric but loves gas. Joe Posey, that beat was awesome. Joe Posey, I appreciate that. And then After Shadow 162, I hope you're still here. I appreciate that. Thank you, the support that came probably at the very beginning of the show. Thank you, After Shadow 162. Again, if that was some sort of mistake, make sure to let the YouTube know. They will fix it. But if not, either way, thank you for your support. Catherine Wilson, much love from Georgia. Well, thank you. And then JT, Joe that you know, and Kirk Burning, thank you for being the last ones out over on That Is the Question. I appreciate that. Speaking of That Is the Question, on our last show, a few people popped in and did super thanks. I really do appreciate each and every one of you that does that. Billy Leather on that last show did a super thanks. Bill Wixton, thank you so much. I appreciate the super thanks. Again, super thanks are done on the replay, so thank you. Tammy Brown, Heather Hatch, Bones, and Tubbs Show, thank you. As far as the cancer, it says that the classified intelligence report states that the Vladian president underwent treatment in April for advanced cancer. The report also stated that an attempt was made on Vlad in March after Vlad had launched an invade of UKR in late February. Vlad's grip is strong, but no longer absolute. One of 3 intelligence officers from 3 different intelligence agencies who read the report told Newsweek. It says the jockeying inside the Kremlin has never been more intense. During his rule, everyone's sensing that the end is near. So they're saying that not only did he have an advanced treatment for something that is really coming along, but also they tried to take him out. So what does that make you think of, right? They tried to take him out physically, whoever that is. Someone tried to innate him. Pretty crazy, trippy stuff. And then new U.S. sanctions target Vladian-linked yachts and jets. Putin's money manager. The U.S. Treasury Department announced new sanctions Thursday on Vladian figures and yachts as part of an effort to degrade the key networks used by the Vladian elites, including President Vlad, to attempt to hide or move money and anonymously make the luxury assets around the globe. So, Dex, this is kind of weird because we already thought that all of these yachts would have been done and, seized or stopped. Are they saying that they're going to go a step further and, track them down? Or, I guess, I thought this was already done. Why wasn't this done in the first place?
Well, I'm guessing what I'm taking from this is maybe what they did the first round. They identified, certain assets, and then they, were able to find the assets they were using to circumvent the sanctions. So now they've created new sanctions that'll rope in those other assets that were sort of being used around to get around the system. So it looks like they're just tightening up on the sanctions that they have. But these are new. They did come out. We've talked about yachts being sanctioned before and other significant large assets. So I guess this is just an expansion of that, going after more and targeting more people or more assets that are out there.
Man, could you imagine being able to own one of these yachts? I mean, these yachts are not just a boat. These aren't even the yachts that that if you've seen the rich people have. These are cruise ship boats. I mean, they have helicopter pads and submarines and full size Olympic swimming pools in the small area of the boat. These things are absolutely gigantic. We're talking about 500, 600 foot boats. Just insanity. They live in what would be, if it was a regular house, would be considered a ultra mansion. But this is on the water. I can't imagine being able to live on something like that. Absolutely insanity. And then Vladian's relationship with Xi is better than an alliance, says Ambassador Wood. Well, we kind of knew that. Before we talk about that, I do want to remind you, if you do want to get yourself all your ducks in a row, I would highly recommend going over to marfugglenews.com/prep. where you can get long-term and short-term survival food. You can get MREs. You can get them sealed. You can also get kits such as a 1-month set, a 3-month kit that can have basically everything you need as far as food goes for a 3-month lifespan. So again, if you want to go over and get a discount on any of these things, make sure to use the code Marfoogle, or actually with this one, all you have to do is just use the link. Again, you can go over and get a 3-month kit at $150 off, and that will take care of pretty much anything you need as far as food-wise for 3 months for one person. Now, if you need more, make sure to go over and use that link, and the appropriate sales will apply. There's also, for those of you that are worried about the nuke situation of a possible nuke, if you are at all 0% worried about it, there is a solution over there for that as well. There's iodine tablets. They also have power banks, and they also have water filtration systems for those of you who do not trust what's in your H2O, or realize that 90% of us would perish in an EMP. You know why? Not because we would be taking each other out, but because we would not have drinkable, potable water. The second the power stops, that's when everything else does too, including gas pumps, including water pumps, including the water out of your sink. I just watched an end of the world movie. I think it was American Apocalypse or something. And it was the stupidest premise because they're in an abandoned house and it's years after it's done. And the guy goes up to the sink and just turns it on. And I'm thinking whoever did this movie doesn't realize like the water would not be pumping still. Period. There's no power, but you're going to have pumping water. And it wasn't like a well or anything. It was pretty dumb. So yeah, think about that. Think about it in the future. A lot of these things will be harder to get. And as far as the relationship, I didn't need an article for this, but again, the reason why we put this in here is because of where it is from. Dex, this is from South Morning, China Post, and this is essentially their view is that they are just super tight with Vlad.
Well, yeah, and this is coming, I think, from an event that they were opening a bridge or something like that. But the ambassador is making the statement, and obviously it's a rah-rah between the two countries. But it definitely, reaffirms what we know. It's like we didn't know this. We're not, we're all sort of looking at it as it's the obvious. But at the same time, we've seen the votes at the UN meetings where Xi did not, vote against certain things that the rest of the world sort of did. There's a lot of things that have happened where it's obvious that these two countries are working really close together. And then, I mentioned earlier, even the gas supply or the oil supply, flowing into Xi's country and into India, at a discount, but, at levels that brought, Vlad right back to the levels he had before it happened. So like nothing bothered them. It's like everything's fine. They've got money flowing, they've got oil flowing, and the countries that they are working with, they're getting it at a great discount. So this is no surprise.
And as far as Xi, it's like even if Vlad dies of cancer, you still have Xi. Xi is the big guy. Everybody's looking at Vlad like he's this big threat. Their GDP, their entire country's GDP is less than New York. Mind you, they spend half of that on military, which if New York actually spent half of its GDP on the military, I believe that would be more than what our entire country spends on the military. But as far as, what is happening here, it doesn't matter if Vlad gets sick and dies. It's not Vlad. Xi is the real, big kahuna behind all of this. And there's all this, and the U.S. is obviously working, there's people that are in all levels working with different people in all of these countries. I mean, a lot of people believe it's all behind closed doors and they're all high-fiving behind closed doors. I do believe that a lot of people are, but I don't think everybody is in on it. I think a lot of people are in on it, but I think that they have to keep the illusion going for people to kind of do their jobs. I think that that Xi's specialty is infiltration and information warfare. He has gotten inside, and they have people on their payroll that are at different places in very high places. And that's how they're getting information. They also have a huge hacking team. They have over 1 million people on their payroll to hack. And to be online is just, a force, an online force of opinion. And then G aircraft carrier seen with a fleet of drones on its deck. Imagery shows that the G aircraft carrier Shandong working as a deployment platform for vertical takeoff and landing drones. It says images have emerged online that appear to show multiple examples of at least 2 different types of commercial or commercial derivative drones with vertical takeoff and landing capability on the deck of the G aircraft carrier Shandong. The exact circumstances behind these pictures are not immediately clear. They do underscore that the Xi People Liberation Army ever-increasing efforts to develop and field various types of unmanned aircraft, including those that can operate together in networked swarms, and often with an eye towards performing various roles in the maritime domain. Now, I do want to point out here that I've actually talked about how in the future, if there ever was, just hypothetically, an invasion scenario of the U.S., that I said it would be drones, that it would be swarms and swarms of actual plane drones. And that's what they're working towards. And they're madly, just absolutely mass producing these huge drones. Now, Dex, I think the original had the pictures. Basically, what the pictures show you...
Should be the next tab.
Okay, what the pictures show you is that these are essentially kind of, I don't know if they're as big as predators, but as you can see, there's about 8 or 10 of these. Imagine the amount of space that they take up on that thing. Imagine, 1,000 or 2,000 of these lined up and released, and then all take off and all swarm a target. When you take what they've actually been practicing on, they've actually been practicing with these drones going in and taking out ports. Not only that, they work hand in hand with their submarines. They're actually practicing taking out their own ports. They've set up fake port areas that are replicas of ours. Think about that. And then as far as they've used these same drones in the testing, as far as testing to take down other carriers, and these are unmanned. So they can, if they need to, they can even put explosives on them. And if they, for some reason, are not fully functional, they can just crash the damn thing into a target. It's a scary thing when we're talking about drones versus people. But yeah, that's the Shandong. And then Xi fighter pilot raised middle finger at Canada Air Force crew. This is stupid, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, and what's funny is it's the Canadian Air Force. Canada loves Xi, right? Xi is such a great leader. Says the Chinese fighter jets repeatedly buzzed Canadian Air Force planes on a UN-sanctioned operation in international airspace, some coming as close as to make eye contact with the pilots in the other cockpit. Sources in the Canadian government told Global News that the close quarters intercepts happened approximately 60 times since Christmas, and that those jets are frequently flying as close as 20 to 100 feet from the Canadian planes. The report said that Canadian pilots sometimes see them raising their middle fingers. So they flipped them the bird. And then, hold on here. I think we're missing something here, Dex. Hold on.
But did they get this this bird flip idea directly from what was it, Top Gun? I think they did that in the original movie.
Or is that part of?
Or did they take a picture? I can't remember if they did that or not. They probably did both in that movie.
Well, with how much G controls Hollywood, think about what movie is coming out right now. Top Gun, the new version of it. So is this like a subconscious advertisement for Top Gun? And then, well, we're missing the civilian craft that spotted the that spotted the carrier. I don't see that in here.
It was the one before.
Is that the same one?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I just missed that part.
I think it may be in the article. There was the tweets that support the article. I know what you're talking about. It was in
it's because it's a tweet. It's a tweet. Could you
let me grab it?
Yes, thank you. All right, and then because I'll show you that what we were talking about. Fleet that is expected to grow in size in the coming years would be incredible platforms for launching and recovering massive swarms of low-end drones at sea. Experimenting now with such a concept, even with surrogate aircraft, would make some sense. Now, when you see these in action, how the small ones are now swarming, they are now doing that with the large, full-size, jet-size drones. Think about that. There's no human being in these things. They can go over enemy lines. They are fearless, and they can deliver munitions of any kind. Very scary stuff. I'm assuming you just put it in there. So let me see.
Yep.
All right. Did you put it in screener?
Yes, it's right. It's in screener.
Okay. Thank you, Dex. All right, and then this is there. Plus, just to remind you, there is more on our website. All of these tweets and more will be over there. In fact, I probably could have just pulled up our own website.
Yeah, these are buried in the article. But yeah, so if you go to that article that's on our website, folks, you can see this and other tweets that support it. But
we use a special program that takes out a lot of the ads and things, so we can read articles without pop-ups and things. But this is, again, civil aircraft took the picture near Kinman Island. So they are out and about in there with their carriers, and mind you, they are now the largest navy in the world. Now they're being spotted all over the place, and as of, what was it, yesterday or the day before, everyone in the Fugel fam that is tracking aircraft are seeing all sorts of weird aircraft. Last night, we showed you at the very end of the show, I want to say it was Jeff B. Maybe, was it Jeff B., I think? He ended up finding, we showed you live on air last night, there was a U.S. aircraft that started in the middle of the ocean and was all the way in the middle of G-land. No call sign, no information, no whatsoever. It could have been a Predator drone or something else, but again, something was going on yesterday. So keep your head on a swivel. Make sure to keep a very, very kind of good checklist of what is going on around you. And then, Dex, do you want to cover the drivers while I load something real quick?
Absolutely. So this is kind of crazy. This is happening in your state, but I think it may be happening in lots of other places. But apparently, Washington State passed a law to constrain police officers. And because of this law, state drivers are actually refusing to pull over when they're asked. So this is not just happening randomly, like every now and then an officer pulls somebody over and they take off and run. It's sort of happening when they talk to officers. It's happening multiple times a day. It's actually becoming the norm that if you get pulled over, all you got to do is run and you'll be left alone because of the new laws that they put in that are basically, making it so that the officer cannot go after the person unless, there's a specific, serious threat that they know about. Or a couple of other basic reasons, but it's enough. There's very few reasons that they can, that it's basically causing everyone to sort of say, well, I'll pull over. And then as soon as I do, I take off, and then you can't do anything about it. So, I mean, ultimately I wouldn't recommend this by any means, because it's still illegal. And I guess that if they get a picture of you or some other way, they may be able to catch you. But, for this to become a trend and become a headline now, that's kind of eye-opening to some of the changes that are being made in, the laws and with policing around the nation, but more specifically in your state.
Part of it too is that there was a chase that I got stuck in traffic one day because pedestrians got hit after a cop chase on I-5, and the cop ended up hitting 2 pedestrians or something like that, 2 or 3, and one of them died. And the thing is, they're saying, well, they can't chase. The one thing to think about, though, is that they're going to have surveillance on such lockdown that they won't need to chase you. They'll be able to find you wherever you end up. And that's even more scary than this. People are like, oh, cool, sweet, I'll be able to run. They have these new systems going in all over the place. As far as the cameras, I mean, you're on, 180 cameras a day or something. That number may have gone up. On average, any person just walking, doing their normal day is on, over 180 surveillance cameras. But it's getting to the point where the police are going to be able to insert cameras all over the place. They're going to be able to use Ring doorbell cameras. If you don't believe me, go look at the actual documents that we've provided over the last year. We called this 3 or 4 years ago that things like this would happen. We're also the lead, right? Our governor, Inslee, he is just shameless. He will try anything. In the beginning of CV and all that, he would do anything if he could appease the people upstairs. People hate him here. I see so many F. Inslee sweatshirts everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, even downtown Seattle, where, it's mostly the other direction. You see it all over the place. And that's because the guy will do stuff like this. Now, as far as this, in theory, isn't a bad thing, right? It's not. If they are chasing somebody over some, traffic infraction or something, then, yeah, it's not worth it. But it's just kind of further going down this road of, like, we're not even going to try to, chase criminals. The crime is just getting absolutely out of hand. What do you think, though? Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? Are you going to run next time you're pulled over? Let me know in the comments down below. Dex?
Well, it won't be too long before they have the technology to remotely turn off your car or pull you over. So maybe that's what they're banking on with these changes, is that, it won't be too much further into the future when they can, if they want to pull you over, they can just tell a computer to move your car over or to disable your vehicle, so you can't run.
That's right. That's what people don't realize, that they want these new, brand new, newfangled cars with Apple CarPlay and assisted lane assist and all of this crap. Guess what? It's all going towards a direction where your car is going to be completely controllable via a hack. It's pretty scary stuff. And then briefly, just want to remind you guys, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield at marfooglenews.com/EMP. You can actually protect yourself against a real EMP or a CME. A Carrington level event will happen again. That is a when, not an if. And you can actually protect yourself against that with this. This is, again, the device that grounds the signal in 500 trillionths of a second before it's able to fry your device. It can protect against all 3 phases, E1, E2, and E3, and it can protect against the solar kind, the CMEs. If you go to marfooglenews.com/EMP, you will save $50 off per device, and you'll be helping our show out at the same time. It's 100% American-made. It's a veteran-owned business. They have a lot of really good news. In fact, Dex just posted it. What county was that?
It was Coffee County in Kansas, and they are one of the first municipalities to outfit in their entire critical infrastructure, everything, with EMP protection. So, and maybe one of the first that's been able to be announced. There's probably others that have happened that just don't talk about anything publicly, but this was kind of a big milestone for both that county as well as EMP Shield as well. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
So that is public knowledge. Obviously, there's other places that they have already done, but it is not. you cannot, you can't even talk about it yet because it's not public information for obvious reasons. Protection and any kind of, cyber protection, any kind of thing like that, that's, up there in classified things. But once it gets to the point, obviously T-Man signed that emergency order to harden our entire grid. A lot of that is still in play, but we are far, far, far from getting all that fixed. So you can actually protect yourself with the same stuff that obviously the government and military buildings are doing. Go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, there's one for your car. There's one for your motorcycle. There's one for your house. There's one for your generators. There's one for your solar system. There's even one for a ham radio. There's a device for pretty much anything you need to be protected. All right, and then Dex, I real quick, I do want to let you know what was it? Jeez Louise. What is it in July? Mid-July or something. I wanted to let you know because there was something that was going on in Georgia, and now it just totally wiped out of my brain. I'll remember it. Either way, if you would like to go over the web-only content, I'm going to pull up a few people that I need to thank, and then if you can go over that.
Absolutely. So a ton happening, and a couple of things in there specifically that you're going to want to go check out. But if you head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, you'll land on this page that has all of the information we just talked about, plus more. You hit that web-only content, you get to the rest of the information. So go check it out. Things that are too hot for TV, too far to one side, political, etc. But there's some interesting stuff, even some interesting things coming out from Musk. He sent out basically what's called a brutal warning to his staff, telling them to come to work, right? Come into the office. If you don't show up, we're going to assume you have resigned. If you're not in the office 40 hours a week, you're cut. And he said quite a bit more. So go take a look at that. Jamie Dimon, if you don't know who he is, another economic person, head of, is it JP Chase, I think, basically talking about an economic hurricane, as he's calling it, and telling us to get braced for it. Plenty of other things happening around the courts, and there's a couple major decisions, one that we've talked about and everybody knows about, and another one you might not know about that's related to bang banks, but those things are all coming out soon. There's a lot of updates on that. There's other updates about some of the politicians, some of the other events that we can't talk about, those other bang bang type events that have happened, including a new one that just recently happened yesterday. An unfortunate event as well. You can get some updates on Dr. F. As we mentioned earlier in the show, he's got a few things happening down there. And also, I think he's suggesting he won't be around till past 2024. So find out what that means and much more over on marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show, or if you're on YouTube, open the description and click on show notes. It'll take you right here.
All right, thank you, Dex. And then Lisa K23 says, shingles looks like MP. Just saying. Actually, MP is a good way to put the POX, right? Sean Penmanrod. Lisa K, thank you again. Sean Penmanrod. And then Lisa K23 again says, Marf, you sound a lot better. That's great. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you for being a loyal watcher and being here every night. Sean Penmanrod again. Vicky K, thank you for the diamonds over on D Live. I appreciate that. Lucky Gypsy, Zippy Moons, Mary XX, R. Tate, Release the Quack in Kimbria, and of course Heavy Ordnance, Stacy Bomba 74, and Light of Vibes. Thank you. By the way, Vibron from Down Under, thank you so much for your support. It is always appreciated. And then Mysteries Mystery School, thank you. Says feel better soon, Adam. Sending healing vibes your way. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Red Pilled says, glad to see you're feeling better, Adam. Hey, that's huge support. I hope you meant to do that. Thank you so much. And always appreciate it. Thank you again. I appreciate the support from everybody around me, including the creators. Like, if you guys haven't gone over and checked out like Global Witness and Jacob Israel and Survival Living, great guy. Survival Living has just been just a kick-ass dude on and off camera. That guy is the same person on and off camera. If you haven't made sure to go over there, he does great videos. He's a very well-trained man now, He's done all the courses to appropriately tell people how to prepare. So, again, make sure to go check him out. That is Survival Living, a.k.a. CFP, Central Florida Prepper. He's a great guy. All right, and then also he texted me when I was sick. I mean, he's just, those are the kind of people that you want to have around you. That don't, people that don't text me about the show or text me about, about doing this. They actually text and want to, they want to know about you. I want to know about your family and how you're doing. That don't care about who you are or what you are. Those are the kind of people I like. All right, and then Dex, thank you for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love, brother. Hope you're feeling better soon.
Tomorrow will be a call-in show, so stick around. We'll be back tomorrow, and I'm sure there's going to be absolute nuts stories tomorrow as well, because there's always is. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com if you want to support us in any way. It is appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay Poe. Be Real Beast. Thanks for the prayers, Bible Talk. Bible Talk 777. That was unnecessary. I do appreciate it, though. Father, I pray for everyone here. May you heal any in need and comfort those are in fear and despair. I pray you will bring all of the saving grace in our Lord Jesus Christ with open eyes to see he is real. Don't be of the world. God bless you all. Fam, mods, Adam, Dex. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Bible Talk. Red-pilled, thank you so much, Vibron, Mysteries Mystery School, Pam Ben, Irish Rebel, Bible Talk 777, Joe Posey, After Shadow, Catherine Wilson, Be Real Beast. Be Real Beast. Mystery School, everybody see. A Joe Posey after Shadow County on the blender. Everybody really wanna go in the under, down under. Vibron in Australia, the real beast. Everybody no scare of ya. Oh nah.